whatever, $200 or whatever on the, let's just say he makes $200. He's getting this mercantile tax on it where it's taking a large amount of his revenue because
It's
of
taken
it.
on the 10,000.
Yeah, that's it. That's what he was saying. Now, I was just wondering, so what's the difference, Tim?
So there's the history there is important because municipalities that had a mercantile tax before 1988, business privilege tax, mercantile tax, could continue to have those in place. But there was legislation in, I think it was 1988, 84 or 88, that said that if a municipality did not already have an existing mercantile tax in place, they could no longer implement one. Well, at that point, Uniontown did not have a mercantile tax in place, business privilege tax in place, so they were not eligible then moving forward to implement a mercantile tax. And so the replacement as the alternative for those municipalities is they could levy a flat up to $100 tax for businesses in that instance. So Connellsville, we've had ours since I think the 60s is when the business privilege tax went into effect. So, we were eligible to continue with that tax being in place as it was. So you can't, at this point, even municipalities that have grandfathered business privilege taxes, mercantile taxes, cannot change or expand, I should say, the subjects of the tax and cannot increase the tax rate to beyond a certain threshold. I forget what that is off the top of my head, but that's kind of the distinction there between those two tax options.
Okay, so the city couldn't look at both and go
Can't
with
do
the
both. It's one or the other.
I'm just saying though, we couldn't look at both options and decide if we looked at with the flat tax and said, well, the flat tax probably be better for us to go with.
You could change it back to the flat tax. Now the question is, once you go to a flat tax, can you go back the other direction? And there was an interesting case last year, or the year before, that raised that question, but it was very, very particular on the facts of that case and the decision. So it would be an open question as to whether or not we would in fact be able to go back to a business privilege tax based on the millage, as opposed to that flat tax if we transition to a flat tax then.
Would we generate the same amount of money for the city?
I
No,
don't know. That's
no, we would
If
lose.
you only have 307
1%?
businesses and you spend $100 a
And
business.
ours,
I think
Yeah, that's
30,000,
like-
we budget 120.
it works out.
No, we budget 200.
Oh, okay. Well, I told Faber that when I came to our meeting, I was going to ask that question because I did not know, and when you started talking, it just sprung in my brain, and I wanted to ask. Thank you, Tim.
yes, thank you, Tim.
For knowing your stuff.
Is that right?
But I will say this, Faber, his mechanic he has does a great job on foreign cars.
Madeline, I have a question. I know last year there was a business that did not pay. Did they pay? Or was it one?
No,
Okay.
What do
there
we
are
do-
some businesses that do not pay. Even with the fine, they don't pay.
So at what point, Tim, do we have any options there to go? I mean,
Well,
I'm not looking to have a business shut down or anything else, but fair is fair. If everyone else is paying and they're just refusing to pay, like I feel that there should be some kind of a action.
So you would have two options would be, I think, and I'd have to look, but I think our ordinance provides for citations for violators who don't register and pay, the amount, and then two, we would have the option to pursue through the collections process, any amounts that are unpaid by businesses that should be.
So do
paid.
we as a council make that decision and then Councilman Karpiak would instruct
Yeah.
Tom to do it? Okay. Can we get a list of that? I mean, is there a way to get a list of the ones that are not refusing to pay and the history of their business, basically to see?
We have it on the computer, yeah.
Can you get a copy to Vern and he can send it out to our council so we can review it and discuss it?
Okay. You would want last year's to see,
Yes.
because this year's,
And if there are any previous, if they didn't pay last year, they didn't.
Just a
pay the
history of
year
their business,
before.
like what they're, if you
we
have
have to
that.
realize, before we set this up a year ago, there was
No record.
no record.
Okay, well,
Okay.
it is what it is. We'll go with that.
Whatever
We'll
you
go
put
with whatever. Oh, I
just have a question. The business privilege, it's collected by Southwest Regional, correct? Is that who collects for us?
Yes.
Is there any reason why we don't do that, or is it just too big of a task?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Possible to do in-house, but
it is a lot of work to
Yes,
do
okay.
in-house.
I was
Staffing.
just
Yeah.
curious, because I thought they did it, okay. Just a question.
I will look at our previous ones and get something to you.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we just can't continue just to like,
Yeah,
if they're
it's-
continuing to be a business in our city and we're providing them services, fire, police, streets,
Well-
everything, and everybody other businesses are paying and I don't have an issue, I feel they should not be just be allowed to just, okay, they're not gonna pay.
I think last year, being that it was COVID most of the year, a lot of these restaurants were barely